Archangel Michael says your name has been seen, your patience counted, and the hour written in light that human hands cannot smudge. He says a letter long delayed is finally rushing like a river after the monsoon gates of heaven have opened. He says the night will not swallow what was promised to you. The sky felt heavier this morning the way a curtain feels before it is lifted. You sensed it in the pacing of your thoughts, in the way your hand reached for your heart as if to confirm its rhythm. Something inside you knew that silence was not empty but loaded like a sealed envelope. You were never a stranger to long roads or rooms where your smile fought shadows. You learned to walk with dignity even while carrying invisible weight. You spoke softly to yourself because you were often the only one listening. Now the air around you changes as if a key turned in a lock you could not see. It begins with small signs that feel like coincidences but refuse to behave like coincidences. A number repeats, a name returns, a door you thought was stuck loosens with a gentle pull. You have been counted by nights, not by noise. You have been measured by endurance, not by applause. Heaven keeps the kind of records that never lose ink. Pressure built slowly the way a tide creeps toward the shore and pretends to be shy. You watched hours climb and fade, thinking the next would be kinder than the last. The next is here, standing in front of you like an ally with rolled sleeves. Every rejection planted a seed in the soil you forgot you owned. Those seeds grew quietly, drinking the tears you tried to hide. Now the field is high and golden and ready for harvest, and the scythe in your hand is not heavy anymore. There is a ledger no thief can doctor where your losses have been balanced against a surprise surplus. The arithmetic is impossible by Earth's math, yet the totals glow true. The deficit that terrified you becomes a doorway. Tonight is a sentence that ends with an exclamation instead of a period. By the time the moon is high, your life will feel rearranged, not by force but by favor. What was pending is now present and it steps forward with your name on its chest. The miracle is not loud, but it is decisive. It will not apologize for arriving late because it is arriving on time. What slowed it was never stronger than what sent it. You felt invisible, but heaven counted every overlooked moment as an investment. You felt small, but the blueprint had you drawn larger than your own mirror allowed. You felt delayed, but you were being delivered to the exact intersection where grace would be waiting. A stranger will carry familiar news, and a familiar face will bring news that feels brand new. The channel is unexpected, the message unmistakable. Goodness has learned your address by heart. Hear the rustle at the edge of your day like the hem of a garment brushing your threshold. Hear the quiet rearranging of obstacles like chairs being pulled back before a feast. Hear your name pronounced without hurry or mistake. The promise was never abandoned, only escorted. Delays gathered around it like clouds around a mountain, but the mountain still stands. The path is winding, not lost. You did not break when the wind wanted you to snap. You leaned, you listened, you lasted. Endurance is a language heaven honors. There are papers to sign, messages to answer, doors to push with a relaxed hand. There are calls that ring through at the hour you usually feel most alone. There are receipts of pain that are about to flip into proofs of purpose. What you thought was a detour becomes the main road. What you thought was a mistake becomes material for a miracle. What you thought was silence becomes a soundtrack. Your name will be spoken in a room where you are not yet standing. It will be spoken kindly, accurately, and in your favor. It will pull you forward like a tide that recognizes its moon. Your hands will not return empty from the place they reach for tonight. Your eyes will not be asked to pretend that they saw nothing. Your heart will not be instructed to grow harder to survive. Grace is a courier with perfect timing. Mercy is a witness who refuses to be silenced. Favor is the signature at the bottom of a form that used to read pending. You did not imagine that shiver of certainty that moves through you now. It is alignment, not anxiety. It is instruction, not instability. Breathe and prepare a place for good news to sit. Sweep the corners where fear tried to hide. Make room on your table the way you make room for a guest who stays. The old story tried to bind you to its last chapter. The new chapter begins without needing permission from the old. Pages turn when wind meets purpose. Every tear that soaked your pillow has learned a trade. It returns now as clarity, courage, and quiet. It returns as an unshakable gentleness that feels like strength wearing silk gloves. There is a voice in the hallway of your spirit that sounds like home. It tells you to keep your posture, keep your peace, and keep your expectation high. It tells you not to run ahead and not to hide. You will hold proof soon, not just promises. You will hold the letter, the key, the message, the yes. You will hold ease without guilt. Someone who underestimated you will step back as if a tide pulled on their ankles. Someone who spoke carelessly about you will learn to speak carefully in your presence. Someone who closed a door will watch it open without their hand. Your generosity made a map that heaven reads. Every time you chose kindness, a milestone was placed on that map. The route now glows beneath your feet as you walk. The night will carry a signature sound only you will recognize. It might be the tone of a message, the knock of opportunity, or the quiet certainty inside your chest. It will not be confusing because it came to clarify. The weight you carried was not wasted weight. It built muscle in places that matter. It taught you balance under pressure. Look at what survived with you. Look at what refused to let go of your hand. Look at how your name still means hope to you. You are being called by what is yours. You are being summoned by what fits you. You are being seated where the plate already has your portion. The long disappointment has run out of chapters. The long silence has run out of pages. The long night has run out of stars to hide the dawn. The blessing does not arrive to make you arrogant. It arrives to make you accurate. It arrives to make you align with what was always true. The room where you felt least welcome is about to echo with your laughter. The hallway where you were told to wait is about to release you. The window you stared through is about to become a door. You will not need to fight to keep what grace gives you. You will need to steward, not strain. You will need to breathe, not beg. The new letter carries language that fits your spirit like a tailored garment. It confirms without exaggerating. It comforts without coddling. Your future is not a stranger trying to impress you. Your future is a friend approaching with steady steps. Your future has your fingerprints already on it. You have paid in patience for what money could not purchase. You have sown in steadiness for what speed could not fetch. You have stayed when leaving would have seemed wiser. The shift will not ask for drama to prove it is real. It will prove itself by consistency. It will prove itself by peace. A table is being set in the place you almost abandoned. A lamp is being lit in the room you kept closing. A song is being tuned to the pitch of your relief. Old fear will show up in small costumes to test the doorway. It will not pass because its name is already known. It will not pass because the guard has new instructions. Stand the way a tree stands after rain when the leaves are clean. Walk the way a dancer walks to the stage when the body knows the choreography by heart. Receive the way the earth receives morning. You will not miss what belongs to you. You will not fumble the key when it reaches your palm. You will not apologize for shining after so much dim. There is a reset in your atmosphere that begins with a whisper and ends like a sunrise. It touches your name, your work, your home, your health, your finances, your peace. It touches your past gently and your future boldly. This is not a random message tossed like confetti. This is a targeted delivery, stamped with time and intent. This is the unlocking you felt but could not describe. Your hands, once tired, begin to feel ceremonial. Your steps, once heavy, begin to feel rehearsed for joy. Your voice, once careful, begins to feel certain. The night will not be long enough to hide what is blooming. The morning will not be late to witness it. The day will not be shy to carry it forward. You were never abandoned in the waiting room. You were being observed lovingly by a gaze that does not blink. You were being fitted for a season that requires who you have become. The announcement will not shout over you. It will arrive like someone who knows the house and does not need directions. It will find you because you are not lost. You do not have to brace for disappointment when you open good news. You can let your shoulders drop and your breath lengthen. You can allow your eyes to widen without fear. Every yes that was withheld is now answering to a higher yes. Every no that bruised you is now bending into a new shape. Every maybe that kept you awake is now dismissed. This is the evening when grace chooses your doorway like a favorite path. This is the hour when the seal breaks without struggle. This is the moment when the curtain rises and the stage lights feel warm instead of harsh. Memory will soften at the edges without losing its lessons. Perspective will sharpen at the center without becoming cruel. Hope will take its seat without pushing anyone else away. What felt complicated begins to unbraid. What felt twisted begins to loosen. What felt locked begins to click. You will not need to argue for your portion. It recognizes you more than you recognize it. It leans toward you the way the sunflower leans toward the sun it cannot stop loving. Let relief become a room, not a hallway. Let joy become a rhythm, not an interruption. Let peace become a posture, not a pause. Your story refuses to be summarized by the chapters that hurt the most. It insists on being read in full. It insists on ending as accurately as it began. The bridge you needed has already been built in the unseen. All that is left is your crossing. All that is asked is your yes. Heaven did not forget your deadlines. Heaven adjusted them to fit your destiny. Heaven preserved what was meant for you like a fruit kept cool in shade. You will see it and you will know without needing to argue with your doubt. You will hold it and you will feel the hush that follows certainty. You will share it and you will notice how fear loses interest when faced with evidence. Let your spirit exhale the tension it learned as protection. Let your mind unclench its fist around worst-case rehearsals. Let your body remember how to feel safe while awake. The one who overlooked you will remember you. The one who delayed you will release you. The one who doubted you will witness you. Your name will not be misplaced in the stack. Your file will not be misplaced in the drawer. Your number will not be misplaced in the queue. Life will not ask you to earn what grace has freely wrapped for you. It will ask you to unwrap it with clean hands and a steady heart. It will ask you to honor it by living well. You are entering the corridor where doors sense your approach and prepare to open. You are stepping into the chapter where sentences finish themselves with favor. You are moving in timing that respects you. Wounds that taught you wisdom no longer need to throb to be believed. Scars that made you quiet no longer need to ache to be honored. Memories that tried to command you now become counselors instead. Your miracle is not loud because it does not need to compete. It is steady because it is sovereign. It is timely because it was tailored. Tonight will be the last night you call this season waiting. Tomorrow will be the first day you call it receiving. The day after will be the first day you call it stewarding. The message is arriving through a door that looks ordinary from the outside. The seal will break as easily as a smile finds your mouth. The paper will unfold without tearing. Read the words and let them soak like late rain on warm ground. Hold the truth and let it anchor the loose edges of your thoughts. Agree with the gift and let it change your posture. The weight of surviving has done its work and can now set you down. The habit of bracing can learn to rest. The reflex of hiding can learn to trust daylight again. You will not need to explain your blessing to those who understand your journey. You will not need to defend your joy to those who honor your growth. You will not need to translate your peace to those who speak its language. The night has orders to deliver, and your address is written in light that darkness cannot smudge. The courier does not get lost. The package does not go missing. Your heart is strong enough to receive without panic. Your mind is clear enough to recognize alignment. Your spirit is awake enough to welcome what is yours. You are not late. You are right on time with the hour that was kept for you. You are exactly where the path needed you to stand. Let this be the moment you accept how loved you are. Let this be the hour you forgive the road for being rough. Let this be the night you stop calling yourself unlucky. The language of heaven chooses verbs like restore, repay, reveal. The mood of heaven chooses tones like gentle, just, generous. The method of heaven chooses routes like unexpected, precise, personal. You are walking into rooms your courage already furnished. You are answering calls your patience already dialed. You are opening envelopes your faith already stamped. What was pending is ready. What was ready is arriving. What is arriving belongs to you. Your peace will not be fragile like glass, it will be supple like leather. Your joy will not be a spark, it will be a hearth. Your hope will not be a rumor, it will be a witness. Stand here and let the old fear fall like a coat that grew too heavy. Stand here and let the new certainty fit your shoulders. Stand here and let the good news take your hand. You are safe to celebrate without calculating how to make it smaller. You are safe to believe without waiting for bad news to balance it. You are safe to rest without apologizing for the softness. The night is on your side. The messenger is at your door. The seal is breaking. What begins tonight will not collapse under scrutiny. What begins tonight will not expire under pressure. What begins tonight will not need you to pretend. You are the one they said would never see this day. You are the one your ancestors prayed for without knowing your name. You are the one whose story taught patience to time. All that remains is the simple courage to open. All that remains is the simple trust to receive. All that remains is the simple gratitude to live well. You will sleep differently after this. You will wake differently after this. You will walk differently after this. Your laughter will feel like recovery. Your breath will feel like music. Your presence will feel like permission for others to hope. Nothing necessary will be taken from you in this exchange. Nothing heavy will be added to you in this exchange. Nothing holy will be rushed in this exchange. The scent of relief is already in the room. The light of clarity is already on your face. The hush of completion is already around your shoulders. This is the delivery. This is the moment. This is the miracle. Open it quickly and let great news find you like a friend who finally made it through traffic. Open it gently and let the pages unfold without fear. Open it bravely and let your name sound right in your own mouth. Let your house learn the sound of celebration that does not make excuses. Let your calendar learn the rhythm of favor that keeps its promises. Let your mirror learn the look of peace that does not ask for proof. You have crossed the invisible border between almost and already. You have stepped over the thin line between later and now. You have arrived at the door that recognizes you. The rest of your life begins with this opening. The rest of your story begins with this yes. The rest of your peace begins with this proof. Hold it. Read it. Keep it. Walk forward with the calm of someone escorted. Speak softly with the strength of someone established. Live fully with the joy of someone entrusted. This is your hour. This is your letter. This is your life turning. And at the very end of the script, receive this invitation with warmth and without pressure. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Micheal says the hour has not weakened, it has matured into certainty. The delivery that carried your name has crossed every gate it needed to cross. The last door opens as easily as a breath. The corridor ahead glows like a road remembered by your feet. The air carries the fragrance of completion the way a garden carries noon. You step forward and the floor agrees with your weight. A soft rustling begins in the corner of your day. It sounds like pages turning themselves in the book you feared you lost. It sounds like relief learning your language. You developed a wisdom that does not need noise to prove its power. You developed a strength that does not need armor to remain. You developed a calm that does not need permission to stay. Every hour that denied you is now required to witness you. Every setback that mocked you is now required to bow. Every closed window that chilled you is now required to let in light. The promise arrives clothed in ordinary fabric. It looks like an email, a message, a hand finally extended. It feels like a door that was always yours just learning to swing wide. Tonight gathers your scattered courage into one bright strand. It ties off the unfinished edges that kept catching on memory. It gives shape to the future you already rehearsed in the quiet. Your name fits this moment like a key fits its home. Your story fits this season like dawn fits the horizon. Your heart fits this gift like light fits an open room. You stand at the intersection of patience and proof. Nothing in you needs to argue with the old narrative. Everything in you is ready to receive without shaking. The sky does not rush yet it never misses sunrise. Favor does not shout yet it never misses the house it seeks. Joy does not boast yet it never misses the hands it chose. You were carried through nights that practiced the shape of today. You were refined in rooms that taught you balance under blessing. You were prepared by silence that sharpened your ears for truth. A letter finds its way to your name and it does not hesitate. A voice speaks your identity and it does not stutter. A path welcomes your feet and it does not curve into confusion. You feel the shift like a tide that no longer asks permission. You feel the yes like a door that swings with quiet confidence. You feel the peace like a garment that settles on your shoulders. Those who doubted cannot deny what stands in front of you. Those who delayed cannot hold what was never theirs. Those who watched will now witness without commentary. Your reflection begins to look like your destiny. Your steps begin to sound like your assignment. Your presence begins to carry a temperature called home. The miracle does not need a stage because it is already the room. It does not need applause because it is already completion. It does not need debate because it is already done. You will see how the smallest faithful acts rewired the journey. You will see how hidden kindnesses changed the map. You will see how quiet choices became thunder in the right hour. There is a lightness to your breathing that used to visit and leave. Now it arrives with luggage and the intention to stay. Now it names this season with words like settled and sure. Conversations turn in your favor without you forcing them. Documents align without you rushing them. Timelines bend to fit the shape of grace. You hold steady while the landscape moves to meet you. You hold warmth while the cold steps back from your threshold. You hold clarity while the fog evaporates like a rumor. The messenger that knocks on your life has clear instructions. It carries accuracy and timing and tenderness in the same envelope. It carries your next chapter written in a font called ease. You touch the seal and it yields as if you were always meant to open it. You unfold the paper and it lays smooth without creases of fear. You read the words and they read you back. Old fear attempts a final performance and fails to remember its lines. Old scarcity attempts a final negotiation and finds no audience. Old grief attempts a final season and discovers no weather to sustain it. You place what is given on the table of your life. You protect it with stewardship rather than suspicion. You honor it with gratitude rather than apology. The room that once dimmed your brightness begins to brighten itself. The path that once tangled your feet begins to level itself. The hour that once teased your hope begins to keep its promises. This is the evening your calendar has secretly been circling. This is the evening your backbone has been building toward. This is the evening your name sounds right in the mouth of miracle. Peace wraps the loud parts of your mind with velvet. Strength stands beside you like a trusted elder. Joy sits with you and refuses to rush. You harvest what grew from the tears you quietly watered. You gather what ripened while you were busy surviving. You store what will nourish the next long journey in others. The announcement does not compete with noise. It plants itself like a tree with deep roots. It shades you from weather you will not need to endure again. Your blessing travels with instructions to multiply. It travels with dignity that cannot be counterfeited. It travels with context that never forgets who carried you here. You walk into tomorrow like a person who knows the address of their peace. You walk into rooms like a person whose presence is a benediction. You walk into conversations like a person who remembers their value. The corridor of waiting collapses behind you like scaffolding after a finished cathedral. The echo of endurance becomes music instead of warning. The memory of struggle becomes testimony instead of tether. You will notice how often the right door had your fingerprints waiting on its handle. You will notice how often timing was not late but layered. You will notice how often alignment looked ordinary until it unfolded. There is no need to prove what is already recognized. There is no need to shrink what is already tailored. There is no need to explain what is already fluent in your spirit. Your boundaries remain gentle and firm. Your vision remains generous and clear. Your voice remains soft and unshakable. The same hands that learned to carry heavy things now carry light with reverence. The same eyes that learned to see through storms now enjoy distance without strain. The same heart that learned to outlast nights now learns to rest at noon. A circle closes so a new circle can open. A season completes so a new assignment can dance forward. A story finishes a stanza so the song can change key. You are not auditioning for favor. You are not competing for oxygen. You are not bargaining for a seat at a table you built with your endurance. The letter folds back into promise and then into practice. The door becomes a hallway and then a home. The yes becomes a rhythm and then a life. Cherish the evidence that arrived by design. Protect the tenderness that arrived by wisdom. Share the overflow that arrived by love. Tonight keeps its vow to you with quiet excellence. Morning will inherit that vow and spend it kindly. The week ahead will distribute that vow until the landscape remembers your name. Your footsteps write a gentle signature on the ground. Your presence writes relief on the faces of those who see you. Your story writes courage on the people who once felt like you. The miracle does not end where delivery ends. It grows roots in your choices. It grows branches in your disciplines. It grows fruit in your relationships. You needed this level of clarity to carry the next level of calling. You needed this level of peace to navigate the next level of doors. You needed this level of joy to sustain the next level of harvest. What you open tonight remains open because it was built to remain. What you receive tonight remains steady because it was sourced from steady. What you begin tonight remains blessed because it was born from blessing. You will sleep with relief like a quilt. You will wake with purpose like a sunrise. You will walk with elegance like a river. Nothing essential will be lost in translation as you move. Nothing sacred will be cheapened by attention. Nothing holy will be hurried by pressure. Your life now carries the sound of completion. Your rooms now hold the fragrance of arrival. Your days now move with the confidence of promises kept. Stand here for a moment and let goodness catch up fully. Stand here for a moment and let peace memorize your posture. Stand here for a moment and let joy take notes on your laughter. This is not the peak because love does not end in spikes. This is a plateau of strength where you can breathe and build. This is a horizon of trust where you can plant and rest. Those who came only to measure your pain will learn to measure your progress. Those who came only to hear your struggle will learn to hear your song. Those who came only to see you fall will learn to see you fly. Grace keeps working while you sleep. Favor keeps opening while you plan. Mercy keeps singing while you walk. You are held by hands that never drop what they lift. You are guided by wisdom that never guesses. You are kept by love that never clocks out. The night finally feels like shelter instead of test. The morning finally feels like invitation instead of race. The noon finally feels like celebration instead of survival. Carry this proof without the weight of performance. Carry this peace without the fear of interruption. Carry this promise without the anxiety of expiration. Your name is safe in the mouth of future events. Your work is safe in the hands of ordered time. Your heart is safe in the current of faithful goodness. This is the continuation of the miracle, not the conclusion. This is the expansion of the blessing, not the echo. This is the everyday shape of favor, not a rare exception. You step forward and the path answers yes again. You breathe and your body signs the treaty with rest again. You smile and the room agrees to be light again. There is enough in what has arrived to heal and to build. There is enough in what has arrived to feed and to free. There is enough in what has arrived to bless and to anchor. Welcome this hour as you would welcome rain after heat. Welcome this gift as you would welcome home after travel. Welcome this truth as you would welcome kindness after misunderstanding. Let your gratitude become a daily practice instead of an event. Let your generosity become a quiet river instead of a rare storm. Let your hope become a reliable compass instead of a fragile spark. The promise that found you tonight knows how to stay. The peace that clothed you tonight knows how to weather any season. The joy that sat with you tonight knows how to keep the music playing. This is the rhythm now. This is the life now. This is the glow now. And at the very end of the script, receive this invitation with warmth and without pressure. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Micheal says the gate you feared is unlocked and the path remembers your stride. He says the letter has learned your breath and will not miss your hands. He says the night carries your proof like a lantern that refuses to flicker. The atmosphere around your name has been rethreaded with gold that resists tearing. The old script tries to speak but its ink will not darken. The new script flows like a river that has finally met the sea. You are being ushered from survival to stewardship with a kindness that feels weightless. You are being moved from delay to delivery with precision that calms the bones. You are being set from almost to already with grace that needs no witness. The corridor of waiting folds behind you like curtains after the final bow. The stage remains warm under your feet as if it prepared for your arrival all day. The air tastes like rain that knows when to stop. Pages turn without you forcing them to move. Windows open without you bargaining with the latch. Doors swing without you rehearsing apologies for your presence. You begin to notice how your steps outline constellations on the floor. You begin to notice how your breath sets a tempo that rooms gladly follow. You begin to notice how your name feels safely pronounced in your own mouth. The knock you expected arrives like an answer that has practiced its lines. The message you needed arrives like a friend who knows where the glasses are kept. The blessing you carried in hope arrives like sunrise that prefers your window. Nothing heavy competes for your center anymore. Nothing false attempts to dress itself as urgency. Nothing brittle masquerades as strength in your hands. Your patience was not a pause but an apprenticeship. Your silence was not emptiness but education. Your endurance was not delay but design. The call that comes tonight will not stumble over logistics. The link that opens will not break beneath your touch. The number that appears will not pretend to be for someone else. You have crossed the thin veil between scarcity and sufficiency. You have stepped onto the clean floor where anxiety forgets its choreography. You have entered the hour where peace holds your wrist like a pulse. Those who misread you will watch your clarity glow without smoke. Those who misnamed you will learn your true syllables in quiet awe. Those who underestimated you will measure their distance with respect. Favor stands behind you like a lighthouse that never sleeps. Mercy sits beside you like a chair that never wobbles. Joy walks ahead like a guide who knows every turn by heart. Your reflection carries resilience the way a tree carries rings. Your voice carries gentleness the way a harbor carries calm. Your presence carries permission the way light carries morning. Receive what arrives without shrinking your shoulders. Receive what fits without calling it too much. Receive what heals without doubting its permanence. Conversations line up like planes approaching a friendly runway. Documents settle like birds finding the right branch. Plans arrange themselves around your peace instead of your panic. The room that used to feel hostile now recognizes your frequency. The hallway that used to demand proof now accepts your quiet. The table that used to wobble now sits level under your elbows. You keep your softness because it was never weakness. You keep your boundaries because they were built from wisdom. You keep your vision because it was shaped by whether you survived. Relief settles into your spine like a long-awaited verdict. Gratitude unknots the threads that used to catch on every edge. Confidence returns to the house of your body and hangs its coat. The letter reads like a map with landmarks you already love. The promise reads like a song with verses you already hum. The future reads like a garden with paths you already saw in dreams. Old disappointments lay down their tools and stop building walls. Old narratives surrender there. You will not need to argue with evidence that stands on its own feet. A gentle order takes root in your days like ivy on good brick. A generous rhythm keeps time like a drummer who never rushes. A bright steadiness finds your mornings and refuses to misplace them. You answer messages with calm instead of calculation. You return calls with certainty instead of dread. You meet new doors with warmth instead of suspicion. The season of explaining yourself to people who never intended to understand has closed. The season of overworking for rooms that never planned to honor you has ended. The season of waiting for permission from voices you no longer follow has retired. Your work now blooms from rest instead of rescue. Your creativity now flows from joy instead of fear. Your relationships now grow from reciprocity instead of performance. A ledger you never saw is stamped with settled where you expected outstanding. A calendar you never controlled is marked with now where you expected later. A gate you never touched is labeled open where you expected guarded. You carry this blessing like a lantern, not like a burden. You hold this provision like water, not like glass. You steward this season like a garden, not like a museum. The same courage that kept you upright now keeps you gentle. The same wisdom that kept you careful now keeps you clear. The same faith that kept you breathing now keeps you building. Notice how peace strengthens the voice without raising the volume. Notice how favor widens the path without demanding attention. Notice how joy deepens the room without rearranging the furniture. You have outgrown the habit of bracing for the worst. You have retired the reflex of rehearsing loss. You have released the ritual of apologizing for light. People who carry storms will try to locate you by the old weather. They will find shelter instead of a battlefield. They will find boundaries instead of a breach. Your life becomes a lighthouse that ships recognize by tone. Your name becomes a chord that harmonizes with help. Your presence becomes proof that survival can grow into song. Momentum gathers without scraping your spirit. Opportunity arrives without smudging your integrity. Provision increases without thinning your kindness. You remain teachable while established. You remain humble while honored. You remain grateful while growing. This chapter loves clarity and refuses chaos. This chapter loves stewardship and refuses scarcity. This chapter loves wholeness and refuses haste. A new archive begins with entries titled Kept, Crowned, Carried. A new registry begins with signatures from favor, mercy, strength. A new anthem begins with verses about restoration that does not need revenge. Your sleep holds deeper silence than any locked door. Your waking holds brighter certainty than any neon sign. Your noon holds steadier grace than any public praise. You will celebrate in ways that heal instead of drain. You will share in ways that multiply instead of scatter. You will lead in ways that bless instead of bruise. The messenger who found you knows your route for tomorrow. The courier who delivered tonight knows the schedules for next week. The guide who whispers now knows the turns for the season ahead. Stand inside this proof without shrinking. Walk forward inside this peace without counting exits. Build from this joy without constructing cages. The story does not need drama to remain beautiful. The path does not need panic to remain powerful. The miracle does not need noise to remain near. Archangel Micheal says the seal that broke tonight cannot be resealed by doubt. He says the blessing that anchored tonight cannot be uprooted by rumor. He says the future that greeted tonight cannot be dismissed by memory. You move like a person who knows where the light switches are. You speak like a person who trusts their own echo. You love like a person whose capacity was widened by truth. The field you tended in tears now yields without struggle. The vine you tied in wind now holds fruit without snapping. The well you protected in famine now rises without prompting. Keep your posture of gentle certainty. Keep your cadence of quiet courage. Keep your compass of clean desire. The glow that rests on your name does not fade with attention. The order that holds your hours does not crumble under company. The grace that steadies your steps does not thin in long corridors. Welcome ease as an ally instead of a stranger. Welcome laughter as medicine instead of decoration. Welcome rest as strategy instead of reward. Your hands are trained for blessing that lasts. Your eyes are trained for horizons that tell the truth. Your heart is trained for seasons that keep their vows. What arrives next will honor what arrived now. What grows next will protect what grew now. What opens next will celebrate what opened now. This is how the miracle becomes a lifestyle. This is how favor becomes architecture. This is how peace becomes policy. Carry on with the calm of completion. Build on with the wisdom of weathered wood. Shine on with the courage of a dawn that remembers the night and rises anyway. Archangel Micheal says the momentum that found you will not misplace you. He says the river that reached your door has mapped every bend ahead. He says the blessing is now busy learning your routine. The first light of morning greets you like an old friend who finally knows your schedule. The air holds the hush that follows a verdict in your favor. The room remembers the exact place where your relief sat down. You move through your tasks with a steadiness that does not need theater. Your hands perform familiar motions while a new ease hums beneath them. Your breath keeps time with a kindness that refuses to hurry. The news that arrived last night begins to organize itself like files sliding into the right drawers. The email that worried you softens into clarity that fits your plan. The message you feared would change everything changes everything for the better. A conversation opens like a skylight in a careful house. The person on the other end sounds precise and warm as if coached by grace itself. The next steps are laid out like stones that know your weight. You sign what needs signing with a pen that glides instead of scratches. You accept what needs accepting with shoulders that stay down instead of creeping toward your ears. You answer what needs answering with a voice that feels at home. The calendar no longer looks like an obstacle course. It looks like a garden path maintained by mercy. It looks like a schedule that respects your heart. Your name has begun to travel ahead of you with gentleness. Rooms you have not entered yet begin to prepare a chair that fits you. People who have not met you yet begin to feel goodwill at the sound of your approach. There is a quiet protocol to this season that feels ceremonial. It asks for gratitude that does not apologize. It asks for boundaries that do not wobble. Old habits of bracing try to audition for a part they no longer play. They bow out gracefully when they realize the script has changed. They exit without leaving a mess behind. You start to notice how often relief chooses the simple door. It chooses a straightforward sentence instead of a complicated speech. It chooses a clean invoice instead of a tangle of conditions. The gift you received is not fragile even if it is precious. It tolerates handling because it was made for daily life. It prefers stewardship over display. Your feet remember how to walk without rehearsing outcomes. Your mind remembers how to solve without inventing emergencies. Your heart remembers how to be open without confusing openness with exposure. You build small structures that hold large peace. You create short lists that accomplish long desires. You take ordinary steps that trigger extraordinary alignments. The phone rings at a kind hour and the voice is prepared. The update lands exactly where hope expected to meet it. The paperwork moves from pending to posted with quiet authority. You do not need to chase signatures, signatures come looking for you. You do not need to beg for clarity, clarity arrives with copies. You do not need to insist on fairness, fairness folds itself into the process. The city feels different when you walk through it with settled lungs. The sounds that once threatened now arrange themselves into music. The lights that once glanced past you now seem to stay. A letter from a distant office carries language you can finally trust. It acknowledges the road you traveled without reopening old wounds. It provides numbers that match the promise rather than the fear. You begin to release the need to double-check every blessing. You begin to accept that good can be simple. You begin to enjoy the view instead of searching for exits. Evening finds you without extracting a price. Morning greets you without demanding a performance. Noon carries you without insisting that you hurry. Small kindnesses appear like coins on a smooth table. A seat opens on a crowded train precisely when you arrive. A line shortens at the counter just as you step into place. You hear your laughter in a room that once swallowed your voice. You see your eyes steady in a mirror that once reflected doubt. You feel your shoulders square without turning hard. Those who thrive on storms begin to lose interest in your weather. Those who counted on chaos begin to forget your address. Those who measured your worth by struggle begin to recalibrate or drift. Your generosity does not decrease simply because your needs are met. It grows wiser and more targeted like rain that knows where the roots are. It lands where transformation can take root. You carry the proof of last night into conversations that previously carried tension. The tone changes without you pushing it. The agreements form without you forcing them. Clarity becomes your new default setting. Peace becomes your standard pace. Joy becomes your baseline presence. You notice how strength feels when it is quiet instead of clenched. You notice how courage feels when it is soft instead of sharp. You notice how authority feels when it is lived instead of announced. The system that once confused you begins to act like an ally. The interface that once froze now flows. The officials who once delayed now deliver. A mentor figure appears at the right intersection with 2 sentences you needed. The advice fits like a key in an old lock. The door opens to a view you longed for without telling anyone. Resources arrive without press releases. Support shows up without choreography. Solutions present themselves without drama. You keep your posture upright without stiffness. You keep your humor alive without turning it into armor. You keep your focus sharp without narrowing your kindness. The envelope from earlier now contains an addendum with even better terms. The account that once hovered near empty now holds comfortable numbers. The opportunity that once felt hypothetical now requests your dates. You say yes with discernment and no with peace. You delegate what is not yours with calm precision. You attend only to what your hands were designed to carry. Fatigue departs because it finally believes you are safe. Hypervigilance bows because there is nothing left to guard at full volume. Hesitation dissolves because the ground has proven itself stable. Your friendships begin to breathe at the new altitude of your life. Reciprocity becomes the new language everyone prefers to speak. Presence becomes the gift everyone knows to bring. You nurture the garden and the garden multiplies you. You honor the structure and the structure honors you. You maintain the rhythm and the rhythm maintains you. A day arrives where nothing spectacular happens and yet everything feels right. That day counts as a miracle of maintenance. That day proves endurance has matured into ease. You recognize how many rooms you held together while empty. You recognize how many days you redeemed while tired. You recognize how many chances you created while unseen. Honor rises like a tide that does not recede in panic. Stability settles like a foundation that has cured for years. Promise stands like a building that passed every inspection. You stop translating your peace for audiences that prefer storms. You stop selling your clarity to doubts that cannot afford it. You stop auditioning for rooms you already own. The weeks ahead line up like friendly constellations. Each point of light knows its place and keeps it. Each connection strengthens the shape of your season. You learn to celebrate in detail and rest on purpose. You learn to plan with humility and act with conviction. You learn to receive without apology and to give without depletion. The miracle becomes muscle memory. The blessing becomes workflow. The favor becomes culture. You live with windows open and boundaries intact. You work with goals clear and ego quiet. You love with eyes awake and past forgiven. A letter arrives from someone who once misread you and it carries repair. A note comes from someone you helped in silence and it carries gratitude. A call lands from someone you are meant to help next and it carries timing. You find a rhythm of private joy that does not depend on audiences. You find a style of leadership that does not require a stage. You find a depth of rest that does not require escape. Archangel Micheal says the corridor is secure and the horizon is faithful. He says the daily proof will not thin with time. He says your story has entered its season of sustained light. You gather receipts of goodness like keepsakes that never gather dust. You mark milestones without needing to make them louder than they are. You honor progress without shaming the path that brought you here. The promise that found you has grown legs and learns your stride. The peace that dressed you has learned your climate and fits every hour. The joy that visited you has forwarded its mail to your address. This is how the long-awaited becomes the long-enjoyed. This is how the sudden breakthrough becomes the steady baseline. This is how the once unthinkable becomes the daily natural. Keep walking with the confidence of a key turning in its own door. Keep speaking with the warmth of a welcome that needs no explanation. Keep building with the wisdom of someone who knows what lasts. The night nods to you with respect because you outlasted its longest shift. The dawn greets you with familiarity because it has learned your name. The day carries you with loyalty because it remembers your posture. Your miracle has settled into your life and refuses to act like a guest. Your favor has unpacked its bags and refuses to treat this as temporary. Your peace has written your address in pen and refuses to wander. This is the chapter where you thrive without theatrics. This is the chapter where you expand without fracture. This is the chapter where you shine without strain. Carry on, quietly crowned. Build on, wisely grounded. Live on, beautifully guided.